You moved dinner to their side of town, third time this month. When they showed up 20 minutes late, they didn't apologize, they just started talking about their day like your time had already been factored in as free, that quiet weight settling into your chest. Not anger, not quite sadness. Something closer to the exhaustion of being endlessly convenient but never essential. And somewhere beneath it, a question you keep circling but never land on: why does this keep happening with everyone? It's not bad luck. It's not that you keep choosing the wrong people. It's one habit, one single pattern running underneath everything you do that silently teaches people your presence costs nothing. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. And when I show you where this habit actually started, something is going to click that changes how you walk into every room. There's something you do, and it works like this. Imagine you're an open tab at a restaurant, one that never sends a bill. People order freely. They don't think about the cost. They don't worry about limits, not because they're selfish, but because you never gave them a reason to. You made yourself unlimited, and unlimited things stop feeling valuable. The habit is quiet. You remove your own cost from every interaction you're in. You make yourself frictionless, easy to reschedule around, easy to vent to, easy to cancel on, easy to forget. You sand down every edge of your own needs until people can move through your life without ever feeling resistance. You became background music. Pleasant enough to keep on, easy enough to talk over. Your brain runs on a simple equation: things that are scarce feel important, things that are always there stop registering. It's not cruelty, it's wiring. And you've been activating that wiring in every person around you without realizing it. You didn't do this because you're weak. You did it because you wanted to be chosen. You made yourself the easiest option, hoping someone would notice the effort hiding beneath the ease. But nobody looks for effort in something that feels effortless. That's the trap. And it hides in places you'd never think to look. They text you at 7 p.m. asking to hang out. You had a night to yourself planned, nothing huge, nothing you'd put on a calendar. But it was yours. And before you've even finished reading the message, your thumbs are already moving. Sure, I'm flexible. Whatever works for you. You offered to drive. Suggested the spot closest to them. Moved your evening around like it was made of water, shapeless, ready to fill whatever container they handed you. Here's what you just told them without saying a word. My time was empty until you filled it. Your plans are the real ones. Mine were just placeholders. Something tightens behind your ribs when they cancel last minute and don't reschedule, but you already know why. It doesn't surprise you. You made rescheduling feel optional because you made everything about you feel optional. You weren't being desperate, you were being generous with the wrong currency. You gave your time away like it was infinite, and people believed you. Not because they were trying to take advantage, because you never let them see it cost you anything. And it doesn't stay in your texts. It follows you to every table you sit down at. People have stopped asking for your opinion. Not cruelly. Not with some dramatic shift. They just moved on without checking. And you can't pinpoint when it started, because it happened so gradually you didn't notice it until it was already the norm. You're at dinner with 4 people. Someone floats a take you disagree with. You feel that disagreement sitting right behind your teeth. But instead of letting it out, you nod. You say, "Yeah, that makes sense." The conversation moves forward as if you were never a variable in it. Your jaw tightens, and you smile anyway. Friction feels dangerous to you. Speaking up feels like risking your seat at the table. So you dilute yourself. You match the energy of the room instead of contributing your own. You laugh half a beat early at something that wasn't funny just to keep the texture smooth. What you're actually doing every single time is training the people around you to treat your voice as decoration. Present, but unnecessary. The more you defer, the less they look to you. Not because they lost respect, but because you taught them your input was background. Something to nod through, not something to weigh. You call it keeping the peace. But what you're really keeping is your invisibility. Stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you is the part most people never connect. You know their stress, their family drama, the name of the ex who broke them. You know their comfort food order and the exact tone of voice that means they've had the kind of day where they need someone to just listen. You carry the emotional inventory of every person close to you like it's your unpaid second job. Now think about the last time you had a hard week. Really think. What did you do with it? You mentioned it once, briefly, sandwiched between "but I'm fine" and "anyway, what's going on with you?" You made your pain small, digestible, easy to step over, and they stepped over it. Not because they don't love you, because you presented it like it didn't need love. You wrapped your own need in so much reassurance that it looked handled. So they let you handle it. Alone. There's a quiet ache that lives in that gap, the distance between how much you carry for others and how little you let anyone carry for you. It shows up at midnight when the apartment goes dark and you realize the friend you spent an hour talking off a ledge last Tuesday doesn't even know you've been struggling. Psychologists call this self-silencing, suppressing your own needs to keep a relationship intact. But that clinical language is too clean for what it actually feels like. What it feels like is hollowing yourself out one "I'm fine" at a time until there's nothing left for anyone to hold on to even if they wanted to. You weren't being strong. You were being the version of yourself that felt safest to be. It made sense once. It doesn't anymore. Now watch what happens when this habit meets real conflict. You apologize when you're not wrong. Sit with that for a second. Someone crosses a line, says something dismissive, forgets something that mattered to you, takes you for granted in a way that actually stings, and instead of holding the tension, you dissolve it. You send the first text. You say "it's fine" before they even ask if you're upset. You fold so fast, they never even realize a line existed. Think about the last time someone genuinely hurt you. How long did you hold your frustration before you started editing it? Before you told yourself you were overreacting? Before you reached out to make them feel comfortable about what they did to you? Something in your chest folds inward every time you do that, and you've done it so many times it feels like breathing. What you're telling people without words, without intention, is that there is no cost to crossing your line. Hurt you on Tuesday, and by Wednesday you'll be the one smoothing things over, making sure the relationship feels comfortable again. For them. There's a pattern buried here, the invisible contract. You keep absorbing, keep forgiving before it's even asked for because somewhere underneath all of this, you believe that if you ever become difficult to have, they'll leave, so you never test it. You never let them see you hold your ground, and the people around you learn, through nothing but repetition, that your forgiveness is automatic, unlimited, and free. Not because they're bad people, because you conditioned them. The same way you conditioned them to stop asking your opinion, to stop checking your schedule, to stop wondering if you're okay. You didn't teach them you were dispensable. You taught them you were self-replenishing. And those sound like very different things until you realize they produce the exact same result. If anything I've said so far felt personal, what comes next is going to feel like a mirror. Everyone around you sees someone who's low maintenance, easygoing. The friend who never makes things complicated. People describe you as chill and understanding and so flexible, and you've been wearing those words like a badge for so long you forgot to check whether they actually fit. But inside, in the version of you nobody else gets access to, it doesn't feel like flexibility. It feels like disappearing. Like you keep turning your own volume down, convinced that taking up less space will make people want you closer. It does the opposite. But you can't see that from inside this habit because from in here, silence feels like safety. You feel a need rising, a desire to be asked first for once, to have someone rearrange their day for you, to be pursued instead of just permitted, and before that need even reaches your throat, you swallow it. You tell yourself you're being needy, dramatic, too much. That quiet moment where you convinced yourself that wanting things makes you unlovable, that is the habit at its deepest root. Everything else was a symptom. The rearranged schedules, the swallowed opinions, the one-sided support, the conflict you dissolved before it could protect you. All of it traces back here. You decided, somewhere deep and long ago, that your value lives in what you can absorb, not in who you are when you stop absorbing. Remember the text? The one where you typed, "I'm flexible, whatever works"? This is the same pattern, just buried so deep you mistook it for your personality. You adjusted, you accommodated, you disappeared. And you called it being easy to love. You learned this young, not from a book, from experience. Somewhere early, you figured out that having needs made things harder, that asking too much made people pull away, that the version of you most likely to be kept around was the version that never inconvenienced anyone. So you got good at it, really good. You became the kid who didn't need much, the one adults called mature for your age, the one who earned closeness by being effortless to deal with. And every time that strategy worked, every time being easy got you inclusion, approval, love, the pattern dug itself deeper. It wasn't weakness. It was the smartest thing you could do at the time. And it worked. Until it didn't. Because the strategy that keeps a child safe is the same strategy that makes an adult invisible. You made yourself free. And free things don't get protected, they get used until someone finds something they actually had to earn. But here's what nobody tells you. The moment you stop making yourself free, people don't walk away. They recalibrate. They start treating you like someone whose time has weight, whose feelings have consequence, not because you became cold or difficult, but because you finally let them feel the cost of losing you. Your presence was never the problem. The price you put on it was. You don't need to learn games. You don't need to become someone you're not. You just need to stop volunteering for a position nobody asked you to fill. Which layer hit the closest? Drop it in the comments. Sometimes just naming the pattern out loud is the first thing that breaks it. If this is your first time here, subscribe. This channel exists to show you the things hiding in plain sight. You were never optional, you just kept volunteering to be.